I am sure sports. You know me there, I'm coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get your sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Trick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices. Add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
All right. Good morning and welcome back to I Am Sure Sports. Listen, this is probably since the beginning of the year, I did an interview with Coach Al Grimson, and I think this conversation today, it is so pivotal, it's paramount, and I want you to help me. I want it to go viral. I'm not saying that because I want likes, because those who know me know by now that it's not about the likes. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to do this together. I want you to take out your phone and start sending this to some people. That's what I'm going to do, and then we're going to begin. I am going to do that right now and send it to people because, like I said, this one, I need it to go viral. I'm going to be speaking to some very, very critical issue as it relates to the sport of football. Yeah. Serious stuff. So, are you ready? All right. I'm going to do that. I want you to find some persons in your WhatsApp and send it to them. So I'm going, see, that's what I'm doing right now. I am doing that. I don't even know who is watching, but I'm going to be sending this because it is how important I think it is. I'm going to also make some calls to get some persons to be a part of this conversation that I think are very important to the discussion that we are going to have. This is not meant. I think I need to change something on this. So let me go back here and fix something. So I need to adjust something. All right, so let me go here. Don't worry yourself. I'll soon fix it. There is an issue with the video, so let me get it. Where is it? All right, where is it? I need to go back over here. Don't worry, people. We're gonna fix it. So let me fix it for you, right? Because I need you. Big up Teddy Lee in the building. You understand me? Big up Teddy Lee Gray. All right, I need to fix some things on this, and I want it to go viral. All right, somebody just mess with it. It should be good now. You should be good and all set, right? So send it, get some people on. All right, comment section up and running. Everything's supposed to be good right now. Check it right now. It should be good. You shouldn't have any problems with the video right now. Just made an adjustment. Sorry about the error with that. But yeah, no, so like I was saying, this is probably going to be one of the most important videos that I've done outside of the interview that I did with the coach. And I'm giving you some time. I'm going to share some information, but I'm also going to give you some time to help me to get this video viral. It needs to be one of those viral ones. All right, it's a public holiday in Jamaica. Send it to as many persons in Jamaica right now. Tell them that they need to come and listen to this conversation. All right, you know that when Manning's man tell you that, it's because, like I said, it is an important video. All right, so here we go. All right, everybody, you're good. All right, so here we go. All right, so where do we begin? First, I need to share some thoughts. I like to share some thoughts, right? So let me just read some stuff for you. Always reading books, and I use index cards to take things out that means a lot to me. And let me read some of these quotes that I have. Vision without integrity is not mission. It is manipulation. If you allow people to make in your life more withdrawals than deposits in your life, you will be out of balance and in the negative. Know when to close the account. Let me read that again. If you allow people to make more withdrawals than deposits in your life, you'll be out of balance and in the negative. Know when to close the account. Vision without integrity is not mission, it is manipulation. You see, the best way to manipulate a man is to make him think he's manipulating you. When ambition gets out of hand, we are vulnerable to manipulation by others. All right? When they can no longer control or manipulate you, they smear you. It's so easy to manipulate an audience, but it's nearly always clear that you are being manipulated. I think even people that are not critically attuned, are aware of cynical manipulation in film. Finally, manipulation becomes emotional blackmail when it is used repeatedly to coerce us into complying with the blackmailer's demand at the expense of our own wishes and well being. I want you to bear those things in mind as I'm going to get into this discussion. Like I said, I'm going to make a phone call because I think it is important that I have a conversation with someone who I think will be able to add some value to this conversation. So, when I do videos, I don't do them because I'm stirring up controversy or for likes. I do them especially concerning football because I have a vested interest in the sport. Not only that, I know that football was part of my saving grace as a young man growing up on the island of Jamaica. I also know that it provides many other youngsters with an opportunity as well to grow, learn, change, and transform. And so that's where I'm at today. Now, I want you to give me 30 seconds. And again, in these 30 seconds, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to get to you. I don't normally do this. We are at 30 likes, right? And if you can hit the like button, take some time. Let's get it to 50. Give me a second. or 30. All right? And we will be back. I'm back. Let's see how that went. Fine. We're doing better. 43, 7 away from getting it to 50. Now, what's going on with our football? Uh, Good JPL action yesterday for all the fans of JPL. For those of you who didn't know, the Reggae Girls, they defeated Sheffield United by 2 goals to nil in their friendly game that just finished a while ago. Again, a big thank you to the GFF for finding a way of streaming the game for us locals so that we could watch it, and those in the diaspora as well, they were able to watch the game, right? So big thank you to the GFF. Good quality video of the game, and very good performance by the girl given some of the challenges that they had at the beginning. All right, and at some point in the show I'm going to try to reach out to someone on that side of the world to give us some views. Now, you see the thumbnail and you've seen the description of the video. All right, now I don't know Mr. Dennis Chung personally, and until I started this platform, Mr. Rudolph Speed is not someone that I had any sort of engagement with. In fact, outside of the president for St. Anne and the president for the Westmoreland football, there was no person that I had, I would say, any sort of relationship with in the leadership of Jamaica's football. I would know them by their TV appearances and those stuff. But I stayed away from it. But once I began to be engaged on this platform, I have to engage many of these stakeholders. And when I started, some of you may not know this, there's a Miramar, there's a TV station that was operated by a very close friend of mine called Irie Times TV. And so I used to call on a radio station locally, and I just felt like it was time for me to just not put my content there, but create a space to put it. And they needed someone to just provide them with little sporting tidbits. And so I started doing stuff by video, send it to them. They would edit it and post the video on their Irie Times TV, which was an online TV channel. All right. And then I said, maybe I should start a YouTube channel. So they started sending me back those videos and I started putting it. I never used to do live. I just post the videos, right? Never had no StreamYard, nothing like that. That's how I initially started. So if you listen to that in the I Am Sure Sports, that we show about and all of that, there is a part where I begin to speak and talk about if we get these things together, then we are good enough to beat this team and beat that team and beat that team. This is all going somewhere. I'm bringing up all of this because at that time, the football was in what I called a turmoil. A lot of things were happening, including that whole meeting and negotiation between our senior male team and the players. And there was great distrust with the JFF and all of that, the administration of the JFF. And so people were getting disgruntled. And so when I did that, I said, though the money issues were resolved, there needed to be unity at the leadership level if the football was going to go ahead. Over that time, I think many of the broken fences have been mended. But you cannot have success without having unity. In anything that is team related and multiple persons are involved in it and play a part, There has to be strong bonds of unity for you to get the best success possible or good success. You will have limited success if there is disunity. All right? So there you go. So big up Beat in the Press and all the persons watching Flavor Solution, Fresh God, Brain Drain, Catara, Chris Roman. Continue to hit the like button. All right. So where is Manning's man going with all of this? This whole heap of talking. Let's get to the meat of the matter. Let's discuss stuff. So it, and you'd have heard this on the coach's desk. You'd have heard this on Ryan LFC as well. And there are some persons in the space and even in the print media that things are being said suggesting, insinuating, people are casting aspersions that there is a split at the leadership level at the JFF. A lot of this surfaced once Mr. Dennis Chung took up his position and started functioning. My understanding is that the board were okay and fine with his hiring. But since he has come on board and started functioning, issues have come up. There are two things that are important in this type of leadership. One, that the new person cannot come in and uproot everything immediately. It takes time to bring forth meaningful change. But on the other hand, there are people who want things to remain the same and they oppose any sort of change that is brought because, as far as they are concerned, the system has worked and we are intelligent enough to make the system get better and we don't need you. So, in our society, right across the board, there is this elitist mentality, even from people who are not elite, that thinks that you from the outside ought not to come in and try to change things to our norm, from our norms. So now there are many persons in the present JFF administration who want to see the back of Dennis Chung. In fact, I put it to you that when it gets closer, like you gonna see more persons from the JFF all over the media now. You know why? Because it is an election year. And the dirty linen is going to be exposed. And you're going to get information from here and information from here. Some person are going to tell you stuff and tell this one stuff, and then you're going to have to decipher what you are going to put out. So all of a sudden, there's a major kickback about against Mr. Chung. Now, like I said, until this whole thing, all I know that Mr. Chung used to do a lot of cycling. Always see them cycling and stuff, right? And heard that he's head of many boards. But what I can say is, in fact, you know that Mr. Dalton Wint has a brother that are very, very close. We used to play football. He went to UTech, all of that, very close. So I have no personal issues with Mr. Wint. But what I'll say is that when it comes on to Mr. Dennis Chung, in the 6 months that he has been in this position, I've seen more problems resolved openly than before. I've seen him being more accommodating to conversations, even under much criticism, and I've seen him spoken to what was done, who was wrong, how it was resolved. Rightly or wrongly, persons have been removed out of and to other parts in the organization because he believes that they have not been doing what they ought to do. Some, whether we believe they should not or not, have suffered the consequences of incompetent actions since he has been there in 6 months. Personally, I do not expect everything to change in the twinkling of an eye. But at this moment, based on what I've seen, I have more confidence that if he were to stay in this position for a duration of 2 years, we would see wholesale changes in the administrative arm of the football. We have seen that though the issue should not have been an issue, that he flew to England to resolve an issue with the girls, and the game was played. We saw that with the U17, things were changed. So this notion that there are persons who cannot, persons who are part of the group that appointed him, who cannot commend the effectiveness of his functions in 6 months, gives reason for us to question whether or not there is other motives behind that. You tell me one person from the Jamaica Football Federation that have come out, and since they have been public, they have spoken anything about the role, function, and the effectiveness or the lack thereof of Mr. Dennis Chung. None. And that is a big issue. So here is Manning's man word of advice. From what I have picked up, whatever I have picked up is that Mr. Dennis Chung right now has the support of a large grouping of the supporters. People who, if he were removed from this present position, I know that they would not be happy and it would cause major uproar in our football. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying that if he makes consistent errors, he must stay in the position. I'm not saying that 6 months is enough to judge him. What I am saying though is that if I go by what I have seen, his actions and his reactions, I am saying, if given more time, it appears that he can bring meaningful administrative changes to football. For too long, the same grouping of people have been at the helm of the football. And every time someone new comes in, they are forced out. They are ostracized. They are smeared. They are criticized. They are and if you remember, even Captain Horace Burrell himself went through this before he got in. Whenever there is anyone who tries to get into the football at almost any level, the people who are in the football have a way of working assiduously to bring them in. Because everybody believes that everything was okay the way they were, or the way they are. And we can change it. And I put it to you that if you could change it, you would have changed it. And the only reason why you want us to believe that you're going to change it is because you believe there's benefits now in it. So, what's the other thing I want you to know? And listen to Manning's man carefully. Listen to Manning's man with wisdom. If I soon get to that. Soon get to that one. If you, any single one, let's call the ones that I know. If the president of Westmoreland, think Everton Tomlinson, Hanover, Samuels, St. James, think Daly, Trelawney is a new guy because the other person went away. St. Anne, Danny Beckford, Pearson, St. Mary, forget the Portland guy, St. Thomas, Wayne Thomas, Casafa in a world by themselves, St. Catherine, Elaine Walker Brown, Barry Watson, Manchester, wherever they are. All right. If any one of you, parish presidents, board members, believes that the change the Jamaican generation, the generation now wants to see, is Mike Ricketts or whomever go, and then one of you come up, you're fooling yourselves. Let me tell you why. One of the reasons why the people have showed much restraint is because Dennis Chung came out and was public. And that also, although a lot of them don't like him, and them cuss him bad, and Rudolph Speed came out and started speaking to the people. If Rudolph Speed and Dennis Chung had not started coming on these platforms and speaking to the people, I put it to you that the cookie would have crumbled a long time ago. I know you believe that you have enough support in your circle, but there is a grouping of people in the diaspora and locally who wants to see none of you anywhere near the football. No, I can't say I totally agree with that. Because I think you all mean well enough. But you don't have the capacity. So the people are saying to you, bring in the people with the intellectual capacity to do it. That is why they want the Chung. That is why they say Chris Deering. That is why they're saying West Indies cricket board guy. What is his name? Cameron and whomever. They are saying that bring in the expert. Bring in Omar Rajas. They call him Neo. Bertram Spence, bring them in. Bring in the Simon Preston. Bring in the past players. They are saying that, listen, the only way this can change is you bring in some people to do the things that for years you have not been doing. Because the people don't believe if one of you change and the next one coming, anything is going to change. The people really want to see the back of all of you. And man is saying that there's a way for all of you to stay. You know how? Bring in the people with the necessary expertise into the program. And you can become overseers. And they become the people who do the work, like what Dennis Chung is doing. Because if he goes, trust me, there will be problems. I'm never one to advocate for anybody to lose their jobs. That's not me. I'm never one to, oh, fire them, fire them, fire them. Especially when I'm not armed with all the necessary information. But how come for close to 10 years we haven't had a functional website? And now Mr. Chung comes in 6 months and it's about to go live. How come for more than 5 years we couldn't see one thing? One thing on the JFF Live platform. And he comes in and it's there now. How come throughout the World Cup campaign we struggled so often with a chartered flight, and he comes, the team goes to Mexico until Damian Lowe came out and spoke about this is one of the first times he has not had a problem any at all with anything. How comes? How comes we have a live stream today and we had one against Mexico? As much as we may say this should have been better, that should have been better. How comes? How comes for so many years all of you are there? Mark you, this may be some small changes, in the grand scheme of things. Small changes in the grand scheme of things. But my God, man, all I'm saying is that none of these things were happening before. So, but the man is the problem. So, I understand that some of you want money because the parish is supposed to get money to operate. And listen, I don't have a problem with that. Like I said, every money that the girls program need, they must get it. Every money that the boys program, the men's program need, they need to get it. When they have our programs, from the JFF, people have said, what FIFA gives MAs is enough to run them at break even. All right? Now, let me say it this way. If there is money there for you, $10, all you need to do, like people of integrity do, people who walk in integrity, if $10 is available, even in our government, maybe I don't know. Well, let's not use our government. Let's not use our government. Big up on yourself, government of Jamaica. But in normal societies, oh, there you go. Somebody saying that since Mr. Chung, the whole whistleblower thing and the sexual harassment thing that came up. Thank you, Flavor Solution. So let me say this. If money is available for you, You have to present something to show so you can get the money. No parish, and I agree with Mr. Chung, he has said it before. He said it publicly. And I think a lot of the parishes have a problem with it. You want to get the money, but you can't show what you're going to do with it. Life can't work like that. When my kids come to me and say, Daddy, can I get X? The first question is, what are you going to do with it? Any parish who cannot present a comprehensive, detailed, outlined, priced invoice, budget, and management of the resources should not be given a penny. And seeing that it is not quote unquote Jamaica's money, it is not the government money, it is not the private sector money. Listen to me, when you have that plan, you need to put it to the people. So say, for example, the 1.7 million that the parish is supposed to get, you have to show me a 1.7 million thing. And here's what happened. You see, when you come to me, I will ask you about what to the last money we get last year, the year before, or so on. And if you can't show me how you're going to break it down, if you can't present me the budget for the last money you received, me not give you no more money. Simple as that. That is good accounting and management. So if somebody is doing that and you want them out, you are suggesting to us that when you get there, you are going to just stick and spend and do what you want. And that is what we're trying to get away from in the football. See how respectful I am. I'm not trying to, but I'm just putting things out there that are normal in managing life. We are called to be good stewards of all our resources. No parish who doesn't have monthly executive committee meetings where the minutes of those meetings are submitted to the Jamaica Football Federation General Secretary should get no money. If you don't have a functioning FA with your president, vice president, public relations secretary, executive administration, all of those things, you should not be getting the resources. No one man can ask for no money. Are you hearing me, people? The issue with our football begins in the administration of our football. And instead of getting Mr. Chung out or having a problem with him, what we need to do is to get more people like him in the football. Cataract. Sorry, management, you're not being clear. Every cost center in an organization presents a budget. Then after disbursement, bank reconciliation is done monthly and presented to the finance department. So what you mean to me now? I'm saying it in layman's term. In layman's term, what you're going to do must be presented before you get the money. So don't come to me and say, hey, FIFA send some money for women's program. Want to my disbursement. Send it to me, That's not how it works. No, do you have a women's program in your parish? You want FIFA woman. You have a woman program. You have a woman program, but you want FIFA women's money. Oh, no, man, me going to start it. Show me the teams. Where was the meeting that you had? Who were the people you met with to say that you're going to have it? What is the budget for it? How much will each team get? All right, give us each team's account number. We'll send the monies directly into their account number. And they need to present to, hey, it's serious business, this. No, what I am saying, Oini, is that I believe the parishes still want to operate that way. FIFA said, we forget money, send it, can't give way. That's not how it works. I am saying, until you can present a full sum, budget, all of those things, outlining every aspect of the project, you cannot. So here's how it works. Let me tell you again. So you have certain organizations, USAID, UNICEF, they have what they call the calls. And what they mean by that is that at specific times, they have monies for projects. And all you have to do is to know the time of the call. So there's like a 6-month window. And in that 6 months, you have to write a proposal with everything written down and outlined. And then they will give you the money. That's how proper functioning organizations operate. And I know this is not rocket science. It's not like I'm not telling the people at the JFF, things that they don't know, They know. But have you had the willpower to do it since you have been there 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? And if you have been there for that long and you weren't getting it done, why should I accept you changing some who were there so you can do it? Why? Give me a reason why I should trust you after 20 years to do what you were not doing in 20 or in 10 or in 8. Why? Again, I'm not here to tell you that Mr. Chung is the answer to all our problems. I'm not here to tell you that he is the permanent, irreplaceable, indispensable General Secretary of the Jamaica Football Federation. What I will say is that what has been projected publicly so far is that he is at the competence level to bring forth some of the changes that we have been asking for. It is so unfortunate that with November elections, that is when we are seeing the inner fightings and the wars and things. There is also a problem in our football, right? The problem in our football is if I'm not doing it, it can't be done good. And maybe it's a cultural problem we have. The cultural problem I believe we have is that I must be the damn. And Jamaicans as a whole feel like we are number one. We must be. If I am not the leader, it can't be led properly. If I'm not in charge, it can't be done properly. So here's what. No matter who is at the helm, because people, you know that there are people who wants the present head coach to not be the head coach. There are people high-ranking officials in our football who believes that the best coach for Jamaica is somebody in Jamaica, and we should never get anybody. You would not believe people in our football administration. Though Rene Simoes came from Brazil and did this, they will even tell you that don't tell them about Rene Simoes. People who are administrators in our football, these are their utterances. They say if it wasn't for Carl Brown. No, Mr. Carl Brown, excellent job. And I have a lot of respect for him. A lot of respect for him. But let me tell you something. If it wasn't for Rene Simoes, we would not have made the World Cup. And maybe it's because Carl Brown would not have been given the support he needed, but would not. That I know for sure. So let me say it again. The fact that we have people in our football now who still have it set out in their mind without checking the competence level that we need a local coach to coach our national team shows you how backward some of you are still thinking. I hear people in our administration saying, they told me, listen, let me tell you again, and this is somebody that I have a lot of respect for. I not a respect I won't cut. You say, listen, so I said to them, so listen, you are telling me that if I want my son to play for Jamaica, and he's in the state at 15, he can't play for Jamaica. Him say him, nah, call him. Because he might give a youth of Jamaica a chance. So I say, hold on, so my youth not deserve a chance. You know what thing me got through for the with me there? Him man say, him no business. That is the kind of thinking that is still in our football. I kid you not. And I'm saying that's your opinion. But that kind of opinion is not going to bring our football forward. At the same time, let me say to you, I don't believe listen to me, I don't believe let me say it again. I do not believe that somebody to just, because they are intelligent, they should get some position in the GFF. I don't believe that because you say you want to help, you should be given a position. Because everybody can help. Right? I don't believe that. Because the truth is, and I'm telling you, as a person who has been involved in football, here's what I know. Oftentimes, the people who give the most to football in Jamaica benefit the least. And so while I appreciate a need to help and probably reward those who have sacrificed, listen, I know people who have they have lost their I know one person who lost massive house, property, his business, and his cars. He got divorced. Watch me, he got divorced, and now he and even his kids don't get along. And you know why? He used to run a team. And when he couldn't get sponsorship, he'd go and borrow money. Put all him house and vehicle. And interest and the group and all of that. So there are a lot of people who have invested a lot in the football. and they have suffered. So while I agree that, the people are involved in football, we must look at a way of how they can be involved in football at the highest level. But at the end of the day, if you're not able to do the job, we must find the next way of supporting you without you being in the administration of the football. Here's what I mean. You can help with the football without being a part of the administration of the football. There's a way for you to be rewarded. So if we get the best administrators in the football, and the football elevates to new heights, here is what is going to happen. You now can get some of the benefits, though you're not involved in the administration. The issue we have is because we will find some of these people who they have tiled and given so much and say, no man, let him be so and so that him can, get a trip, him can get some per diem, him can get some this. And so what we try to do, we try helping them the wrong way. So we try help the people instead of trying to elevate the football. Man is proposing to you. Work on elevating the football to consistent World Cups. And then you'll have resources to go and rebuild some of those teams, rebuild some of those communities, and help some of the people. See, somebody just said it happened in Chartwood. I can tell you people like Danielin at Constant Spring and their family. Pass now. But the amount of money those guys have put into football, nothing to show for it. Bim Williams. A lot of them. So, does that mean they should be in the administration at the leadership level? No. It means that we put in the best administrators available to us, get the football going so well that it becomes a multi-billion-dollar industry. So all of those people who were given 20 years ago and 30 years ago, they can start getting out of the same football. But to take those people and put them into the football to try and reward them now, when the football is in deficit, no make no sense. Simply put. So, that was longer than my 30 minutes. So if you want to call in, you can call in and share your thoughts. And here's the thing. You see the thing that are strongly opposed to what I'm saying? Man is wise. You see the quote I read at the beginning, go back and check them. Because here's what I'm going to do today. Call and talk to me. Share your opinion, man. Let me see what is your thinking. Because people, one of the things I'm learning is how to listen and understand. Not just listen, but listen and understand. Again, I'm not telling you that Mr. Chung is perfect. I'm not telling you that he's the only one. What I'm saying to you right now is that the person who has made us feel like things can change so far is Mr. Chung. See, you see what this means? Coach Barris, you see, a group of accountants are running our football. So Coach Barris is basically saying, people like Chung no for them at the football, and speed on them, man, because them are accountant. That's what you see what I mean? Not true Barris. Man like Chung no for them at the football, not true Barris Johnson, and speed them no for them at the team. Who should be there then? When you tell me this now, you have to tell me the solution, because this is the problem. The problem is this. we look at who play football and who not play football to do administrative work. Ask yourself what is required and who is more competent at doing the job. Who are football? Who are football? What do you mean by football personnel? Because somebody play football, do you believe because somebody play the sport, it means that they can administrate the sport? I can give you many leading federations in the world that the people who lead it never played it at any high level. Many. They are not past national players. You want me to give you some of the big footballing nations where the people who run their football are not that. So I want you to explain what you mean. Because playing football don't make you a good football manager. So who are the football? How do you describe football personnel? I'm going to tell you again. Some of the most competent leaders. You look at even West Indies cricket. You look at some of the things, the people who run some of the best organizations and run them well in terms of sport. Look at the guy who played David, what's his name? NBA. Stern is his name? Which basketball team he play for in the professional ranks? Welcome to I Am Sure Sports.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jeff.
No, no, come on, no, me no, Mr. JFF, no, my name is Management. So careful now, man, you get me in problems.
Too much account and running the football management. Listen, for years and years, since 1998, qualifying for the last set of Youth World Cup and senior program, we are now left seeing where we are qualifying for the females management. Management, it doesn't take rocket science management. All it needs is mere common sense and people that understand the sport and that can administrate the sport management. And when you look at what's going on, management, clearly, management, come on, man. We have a bunch of people that, yeah, they might mean the sport some good management and they might mean the sports well. And they may want to see the sport elevate in a particular manner. But management, based on what we're looking in from the outside, they have no clue, management. They have no clue. People keep on making the same mistake over and over, management.
I still trying to.
People keep on making the same mistake over and over, management.
I think.
And when you look at what is happening, people give themselves role, and yet still they're not carrying out the function.
All right. Can I ask you just a series of questions? Who? Tell me a football person that you think did a good job at running Jamaica football.
Management, we have a lot of people in the past.
No man.
But I said it and then I'm going to name people. All right? We have people like past president, Mr. And I'm going to give him the salute, Mr. Tony James. All right? Outside of Tony James, we have people like he was the president of the same confederation in the Tony James Parish, somewhere there in Mandeville. I forgot his name totally.
So hold on. All right, so let's go slow. So you believe good administrators of Jamaica's football were Creston Boxill and Tony James? I believe that's what you're saying. Coach Barris, you're still there? Because we need to. So you're saying that your example of footballing persons who were good administrators were Creston Boxill and Tony James.
Those are not only the only example, management. I can go on and on till you want to finish the show.
No.
We have management. Listen. And I beg you listen for 5 minutes. And I beg Jamaica, and I beg your diaspora, and I beg all the listeners worldwide to listen to management. I'm not saying to you that the football only strive on people that play the sport to come back and administrate management. But management, when you look at what happened in our federation, not from now, but look what happened then. And when you look at the track record of how many past players have been back in the federation to help move the football at any level, we have some of the strongest coaches that
Hold on.
also
But we're not talking.
administrate
Hold on.
great academies worldwide.
All right.
And
So,
they're not given a chance to help
all right.
manage Jamaica football.
All right. So you believe that the coaches in an academy are the persons, the past players who are coaches in an academy should be running the football. I'm trying to understand
It's
because
not
I'm not talking
management,
about
not
coach.
only coaches.
No
It's
man.
not only coaches. We have administrators
Man.
too.
No man. All right.
We have
So,
people that
no,
administrate.
no. So, Coach Barris, let us slow down a little bit. All right. Let's just go through the question, no, man, and
Okay, go
let's
again.
let's calm down. So we are not talking about people to coach teams. We're talking about management,
All right, we can give you an example.
All right, you go ahead.
Altiman Butler sit at the head of Port St. Lucie, which is the technical director. He managed, and outside of manage, he also put in place manuals and guidelines for the club.
But that is not but Coach Barris, you're missing something though. That's what I'm saying. You have to listen out to me first and then you speak. You are talking about the technical management of the program. We are not having a discussion.
But management, that is where we're falling down because we don't have nobody technically to put nothing in place. Everybody all over the place, management.
But just listen. When you brought up persons, you brought up Preston Boxill and Tony James, who were not technical managers. They were in charge of the administrative arm. Freddie Butler has very little to do with the administrative arm.
But management. So what are we looking for? We are.
Hello? Let's see. Coach Barris?
Going on, we're going forward.
Coach Barris.
Management.
Coach Barris. What you're asking me, I didn't hear your question. Ask the question, because I didn't hear it. You're chipped out. So
no, don't sit. That. But the problem I'm seeing, we have people sit inside the federation that don't even understand the basics.
All right, so Coach Barris, here is how the football works. The technical department, let me tell you how the construct of football is. And this is a global phenomenon. And it is
we have people like you, management. We have people like you, a former player that can go in there and administrate.
No, man, just Coach Barris, just listen, The global phenomenon, or what is happening globally, is simple as this. The effective functioning administrative arm will put in place competent technical leadership to drive the program forward. All right? So listen to me. If you get the perfect technical person and the administrative arm is poor, there's going to be a problem. We are having a discussion about the administrative arm of the program. The example that you have cited is not accurate because on one hand, you brought up Tony James and Preston Boxill. And then...
and you're saying those people can't administrate the football management?
No. Yeah, if you just allow me to finish. And when you brought them up, I asked you a question. And then you said, all right, let me up. And you brought up Freddie Butler. two
So
different.
management, my man, you're saying to me none of the three persons or personnel that I name can administrate our football. What are you trying to tell me, management?
Are you going to listen to me now? You want me answer you? Are you going to answer for me?
No,
You.
answer.
All right. So the example of Freddie Butler at Port St. Lucie is completely different. He is not in charge of the administrative arm, and he will tell you that he doesn't do the administrative functions. He is in charge of the technical function. Because Port St. Lucie has proper administrative functions, they were able to put in place a person like Freddie Butler. So let's go to the other two examples, right? Because lot of respect for Tony James from Las Perfectos. There's no issues with him as a person, but he was in charge of the football. Did we qualify for any World Cup? What was our technical development any better? When Creston Boxing took over from Captain Horace Burrell, did the technical armor for football get better? Did we make progress as a footballing nation? Because you brought up those two names as if they're persons who have never been in the football. That's all I'm saying. So we don't need to compare. You brought up the people's name in the conversation, not me. All right, so people, listen. We have to listen because we're talking about administration, and we've gone down to coaches. And if the administration is off, then obviously it's going to the other functions are going to be messed up. That is obvious because if you have poor administrators, they're going to hire poor people to do functions. Right? This idea, I would love to know, I'd love for someone, I'd love for someone to show me which which one of the MAs, the FAs, excuse me, all over the world, they have in their leadership persons who played football at a high level. In fact, so when we talk about football, Dennis Chung played football, Rudolph Speed played football, a lot of these people played football. Chris Williams played football, Owen Hill played football. So it is I suspect that what he's saying is that people who play for the national team, and not everyone who play for the national team have the competence to manage some of the things. There may be some, but not all of them have the competence level. If the football is a business, we need people who have managed businesses well and have made major profits. And this is not a knock on footballers because there may be footballers who have done this. But the idea that for football to be run effectively, footballers must be involved, there is no proof that that is how it works. Because even some of the best coaches weren't some of the best players. All right, so here's the next one. The US Soccer Federation, only the president is a football person. They're only the president. And they are, there you go. Thank you so much, DV Group. Only the president is a football person. So I don't understand. I don't understand. It's almost like we want people to get in power who are our friends and we get along with good so that they can give us back something in return. And the football can't operate like that. It can't operate like that. No, and this is not, I'm not here trying to be dismissive of Mr. Creston Boxill. Big up yourself wherever you are. Know you have your book, you have an event coming up. I mean, Mr. Tony James and Laspi, listen, he's an ex person who, those guys, Tony James invested a lot in football. All right? But look at where Las Perfectus is. He had some great success with them. But again, when you look at the overall management, because he was a president and he did some good things. But at that time, we are going to say, well, the team didn't qualify because of this. Yeah, you know what, Cataract? That's a good point, Look what happened with Cameroon and Samuel Eto'o. How even the player from Liverpool was not allowed to play. Sometimes, even that becomes an issue. See, our next person here, Coach Barry, if you listen, Noel Grat is the head of French Football Federation. He's a successful businessman, not a footballing person. Listen, look at some of the big clubs. You think you think the Crown Kids play football? Or Roman Abramovich play football? Wasn't he the owner of Chelsea? LeBron James is a basketball person, and the group that runs Liverpool. But Everton, somebody had to tell him, because that's what I was trying to say to him. I'm saying that if the administrative arm is off, it is going to affect the technical arm, because it is the administrative arm, that hires and appoints the technical arm. So if you have incompetent administration, then it's going to affect the technical output of the team. That's what I'm trying to tell him. So we have to fix the administrative arm of the organization. That's where we need to look at fixing. And sometimes the best things to do, if you have a big organization, is to find people who have operated big organization and have done successfully well with those organizations and put them into place, because they will give you better output. They will make better selections in terms of employment and all of that. They will. Here's the next one. Javier Tebas Madrano runs all of Spanish football and is a lawyer by profession. Caller, welcome.
How are you doing?
Welcome to I Am Sure Sports Caller. I hope I said that I'd have maintained my calm, but Coach Barris tested my.
You got excited.
No, I think I handled it well. I don't know.
Well, as the host of the program, you can't afford to lose your cool and allow that to be by the commenters and your callers. The host has to always be in control, just like a referee. You see a referee elbowing a player this weekend, referees can't get to those situations. You have to be above the norm. You can't be elbowing your guest. You can't be elbowing your guest.
No. I thought people in the comment section, please tell me if I dealt with it well. I thought I was very cool with Coach Barry. Coach Barry hung up in my ears, and see him gone in the comment section. He didn't even say, all right, management. Him just hung up and gone.
But I didn't hear his comments because I had to step. What was the contention of?
Well, he's saying that his major point is that we need football in person to run. First, he said that we only have accountants running the football. Of course, that is referring to Dennis Chung and Rudolph Speed. All right. So I said. So then he said, we need football in persons to be in the football. So my point to him is that not because somebody play football mean that they can administrate football. And he brought up some technical people like Freddie Butler, who is in charge of the technical operation at his club, not the administrative arm. So my point to him is that if the administrative arm is functioning effectively and efficiently, they will then hire the appropriate person in the technical arm. But if you have the right technical persons and the wrong administration, everything is going to be messed up. Yes, Cataract, I'm accepting call, but if I answer your call, Cataract, then I would have to cut off the person.
No, no, no. If you accept Cataract's call, nobody else will speak. So give me my 5 minutes. Because Cataract will take half an hour just to explain
Uh,
one point, and I
uh,
won't get my 5 minutes. I promise not to stay on long because I'm actually at my lunchtime. But I'll say this, which is I think every business has to have an accountant. And repeat that. Or somebody who understands finances for the business to run, for you to have processes that work. So that's fundamental to any business, right? But secondly, management, this concept that football persons has to run a football organization, part of your program needs to be to educate and inform people of what does that exactly mean, and do it in a calm and reassuring manner. What do I mean by that? Meaning, people understand that there's a technical side of football, and as you said, the administrative side of football. The new Gensec is not running the technical side of football. He's not coaching. He's not selecting the squad. What he's doing is make sure the administration element, the protocols that need to be followed, the processes in place are working appropriately. And that's what I think Dennis is trying to do. And management, we have tried, frankly, some of the people who have been in place for all these years have not done the best. I'm gonna be nice, management. I use nice terms. Have not done the best job of running our football. And it's evident, and you judge people by what they've accomplished through the outcomes. The outcomes have not been what we want them to be, management. We've been doing this for years now. And we have people who are local where they reside, Western perception about what should be done locally, and sometimes should only be done by those who are domiciled locally or were born locally. And in any part of the world, management, most countries' organizations leverage intellectual capital management from wherever they can find it, so long as it's better than what they have, right? If you go to any company, if you look at the US, for example, Microsoft, Google, a lot of those people are of Indian descent because they have the
yeah.
technology expertise and they bring them in here and specialize visa management. So every organization is going to go out and source human
Yep.
capital to help them improve. And I'm not sure why we have this aversion to this in Jamaica. And frankly, in Jamaica, what happens is, as I mentioned to Wayne last night when he was talking, we have an old boys network. The people who have been power don't want to give up power. And as I said before, they're not nationalists. They're not. They want to maintain power, and they can't even see when they're not doing a good job. They don't have the perception. This is not questioning one's intelligence.
Uh,
They don't have the perception manager to realize, I
Look,
should not be in this role.
Cranky,
I'm not doing a good job, so I should be
Cranky,
moved.
Cranky.
Yes.
I have to, as a coach, Barris type something. I don't know if, I think he's referring to you. He
I
says,
can't see it. What is saying? Yeah, what is saying?
he says, he says, he says, thanks, Frankie. So I figured that
Who's Frankie? My name is not Frankie.
I think he's referring to you. But
Okay,
yeah,
fine. I don't know what he's
no. But
thanking me for.
the point I'm making is that you are so far from what he was saying. So I don't know how he's saying thanks to you. When you're but
No,
go ahead and finish up. I don't understand,
no,
Coach
but Dennis,
Barry.
I think Dennis said, look, I was very disappointed in Wayne's comment last night about this whole concept of passive support. I don't know. I have no idea what that means. Any organization you have, management, when you bring people in at the executive level, the board probably should have had consensus about bringing the person in. The board should be creating an environment where that person can succeed. It's fundamental to how you operate. I don't know why you laugh, management. I can't see
No,
your
no,
commenters.
no, because the people somebody said, Frankie, do you remember me, Frankie?
Yeah, I know. It's probably part comedy, part serious type environment
Oh
operating. I'm fine
Jesus.
with that.
All right, but let me not
But
get
the point I'm trying to
distracted. Go
make,
ahead,
management,
yeah.
is this: is that the point I'm trying to make is that I was very disappointed in Wayne's comments last night. A number of things. When I asked him about change management, and he's the one who initiated that conversation. No, he couldn't articulate and explain where he have clearly demonstrated, executed, be supported, push, put in place change management processes.
Yeah.
Because if he did management, he'd have had multiple replacements situated in multiple parts of his organization, including his own role. And change management sometimes is not implemented because people don't want to replace themselves. They create an environment where they're the only person who seems to have the capability to function in that capacity. And therefore, you know what? if they vacate the role, they made themselves almost indispensable, when that's not appropriate. So my hope would be, Manningsman, that the direction we're going in, we have brought Dennis in. Dennis have a lot of experience in the corporate environment. He can bring over some of those governance processes, accountability, how you execute to the organization, and hold people accountable.
Yeah.
And they should be replaced. And my hope is that Dennis will be given the support. And I think the YouTubers who are now having being much more influential in the perception they create in the external environment about how these things work should be supportive on Dennis. If he proves he's not up to the job, then you can express your disappointment and your views that he should not be. But until then, we give him enough opportunity to try to change. And here's the last thing I say, man. The hardest thing you can do in a company or an organization is change culture. If the culture is broken, it's almost impossible to change it. As Drucker says, culture culture eats strategy for breakfast. I would say culture eats strategy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And
Yeah.
Jamaica even supper, what the British people used to have. So my hope is that we give Dennis the chance to succeed and we support him as much as possible. And we run the people who want to support him. Let me get
Yeah, until that's what I'm
straight now. We
saying.
run them way.
Until we begin to see failures, you have to support him.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm
You
not
have to
saying that
support
big
him until
changes
he
have
proves
been made,
otherwise.
but I've seen minor movements, and so far, of all the persons, this is one of the areas I can say, well, at least I'm seeing an effort to change things, and that I am willing to give a chance.
Minus
That's
man, at no time last night did Wayne say I support him wholeheartedly. He didn't. He was trying to be cute with his comments, trying to be political in his comment, trying to be diplomatic in his comment, which to me is disingenuous. And people like those you can't trust. Okay, if somebody comes in and you're not supporting, you're part of the board, then maybe you should not be part of the board. And management, we should be advocating this. The composition of the board needs to change. The construct by how the board is constituted needs to be changed, management. I don't think all the parishes have members. You know what? I'll talk to you about another time about this, but that how the board is constituted needs to be much more diverse in its composition, not just in terms of gender, but in terms of how the vocation or what things people are involved with that constitute that board. You need diversity important, diversity of thought, diversity of how you think, so the board can be holistic in terms of how it operates and wholesome. And right now we don't have that. So the JFF need to change, Mannings, man. And if these people don't want to change, then we should find a way to make them change, frankly.
Yep.
All right, I gotta
Yeah, man.
go.
Thanks for the call, Cranky. Listen, I think it's R Cube. Jason, R Cube gave some examples of R Cubed. He has given around 7 examples of administrators who are not quote unquote footballing persons. I would, if you can just copy all of those, or RQ, I don't know if you're an RQ communicative, I know the person, but if you can copy those and put them in a WhatsApp and send to me so I can get those, because I want people to see that the administrative arm of football for a lot of the bigger nations are not people who played at the highest level. What they do though is a lot of the technical directors of football and the head coaches probably have, right? And Coach Boris, all right, we have a next caller coming. Let me take this call. Yes, Ketara, welcome to the show. Well, welcome
Yes,
back to the show.
welcome back. Good afternoon. And apologies, I was not trying to cut off Stan. I didn't realize there was a caller.
Stan, no, no,
I
Stan was on the phone. It was Frankie.
oh, no, man. Coach Barrett is at a retro party, man. He just singing the disco part. Okay, on to the serious business. Much of what Stan Kroenke said is correct. And I just wanted to add a couple of things. Not a football in perspective. But Coach Morris, you're wrong, so you're wrong to say you can't run anymore. But let me just read this to you, management. The head of the FA board, you see, is a Miss Debbie Hewitt.
Yes, somebody did say that.
And
But isn't Prince
she,
Williams? Prince
hold
Williams
on,
is
hold
here
on,
though. Oh, go ahead.
no, man, he's the figurehead. She is actually immediately prior to, she was the executive of the RAC group. And prior to that, she was actually the retail manager of Marks and Spencer's, which is a store chain, like Macy's, right? She has an MBA from Bath University, right? So nothing in that there is a football, right? Nothing in there. However, the executive director, who is Mark Bullingham, is a level one coach and coaches grassroots football. That's the level at which he's involved in. His actual background is sports management. So I think Boris is confusing and conflating the management and administration with the execution. The management sets up the framework for the technical people to execute a game plan and to achieve the results. So the management sets, they make sure there's money, there is a sponsorship, there is marketing, there is a website, there is PR and communication, that there are taxes, etc. And the technical people like Gareth Southgate and his technical people wage war on Jamaica, pick 10 Jamaican players and execute their strategy. But the two never don't meet. And there's a reason for that. And people say it. And I remember this from Jamaica's politics structure and says, the best ministers of health are never doctors because you get caught up in the nitty-gritty and the weeds that you don't see the forest and the big picture. And at the head level, you have to be seeing the whole strategic big picture in order to make the right strategic decision.
Yeah. Yep. You know, you're absolutely right. So I am not saying that. I'm not saying to people that former footballers who have the requisite knowledge should vie for positions, but not because you play football means you have the requisite skill level to operate in the administrative arm. There may be some because there are footballers who are accountants and lawyers, but how Boris sounded to me, he was talking. It almost sounded like former national players because
Right.
Dennis Chung played football. You can talk about
And
the levels.
he does mean that if you're not a former national player of the United States or a
That
parish president
yeah,
or you
yeah.
own a club, you know, for United States, and that
But you
can't
know what
work.
is funny though? You know what is funny though, right? To the president of the football who never played football but was in charge at football at the Jamaica Defence Force and had success with them. The person who was president, he never mentioned, but he
Yes,
mentioned the
because
one prior and the one that
post,
was somewhere in
prior
between.
and post.
You
Right.
realize that, though, and
Right.
because he
Because
mentioned since X time we haven't gone to the World Cup, we haven't gone to any Junior World Cup. But when he was naming persons, he never mentioned the administrator who was in charge at that time. So I don't understand.
so, I can't speak for Coach Boris. Um I just want to also add, Mr. Marin, that the running of a major sporting federation requires set of skill set and savvy and a network which allows you to get things done and allows you to create a vision, set objectives and goals, and manage an organization. And none of that. Some of some of it has to do with the field, like you manage a game, you manage game time, you set an objective of not allowing another a goal to concede, etc., etc. But this is at a much higher level. So I leave that there. The other quick thing, just on this point, and then I'll come up, and when you go back to talking about the game, etc., I'll jump back on where we left off earlier. But in human resource management, it is the accepted practice that performance evaluation is over a 1 year period. Save and accept when a person is hired and told that there is a probation period and you are conducting an evaluation at the end of the probation period. But most targets that are set for an employee, most key performance indicators, measure over an annual performance. It's called an annual performance evaluation. It's not called a 1 day or a 3 month and a 3.5 month evaluation. You have to give a person a acceptable period of time with
Yes.
which to achieve their objectives, implement their strategies, and allow those strategies to bear fruit before you judge them. Because you can be judging them at the stage where you're planting the seed. Run the man away, and then you see a big, nice, bountiful mango tree grow up, and you say, boy, if I ever did know. So I would agree with that. But where I would challenge you, managers, and say is there is a discipline in management called change management. And that is where I think Mr. Chung may be weak. You can't go into an organization like a bull in a china shop. That doesn't work anywhere. You will get resistance. You will get sabotage. You will get a lack of cooperation from your staff and other key persons. Change has to be managed in any organization. Otherwise, it's a failure if you fail to manage the change. Am I making sense to you, or are you in
Yeah,
agreement?
no, yeah, I
I don't
believe,
want to
I
have a
believe, I
monologue.
believe, but I did say that, I don't believe you can go in and just start digging and just start digging up everything and throwing out everything. You can't. It takes time, and you also, in making changes, you have to understand that you need to change people's mindset. Some won't change, so it takes time. And I think what needs to look at is this the best approach to make all the changes and get everyone on board? But what I'm saying is not like we are seeing any wow major wholesale changes, cataract. What we haven't seen any earth shaking changes that would make somebody want to resist it so far, in my opinion.
But we don't know what might be happening in the background, right? I don't know if there's a change in how monies are disbursed, for example. We wouldn't know those internal mechanisms, right? Um, so the fact is that in order to effect major change and to effect cultural change, you must get a buy-in from the internal stakeholders in the organization, meaning the other employees and the other management, etc., have to buy in. And you can only do that by consultation.
Yeah,
And
but
it's,
yes,
it's
you
a,
see, this is and part of the issue now is like sometimes, and I hear your cataract, there is that part, but sometimes the change has to be like, for example, I'm going to give you a good example. If this coach were to wait and buy in from the rest of the coaches, the football would decline rapidly. He had to come in and make the changes right away. And who gets offended. There are certain things you have to give time, but certain things must be changed immediately, even if people get offended. And because those things will sink the whole ship. In other words, while I'm patching the hole in this part of the ship, right? Well, while I'm putting some oil in at the front of the ship somewhere, I have to be patching the hole. I can't say, all right, let's talk to everybody first. Let's talk to the captain. Let's talk to the sailors before I patch the hole. Because if I do that, then the ship is going to sink.
so Marin, and again, I believe that these things are important because sometimes we just want to talk about the raw football and passing the ball and putting the ball in the goal, but not understanding that all of these things can totally derail what we see on a football field and the result. And I can't see the comment, unfortunately. So let me say this. You are correct in some way, but you're wrong in another way. Because let us say where you're correct. If, for example, you had prisoners escaping through the front gate of CP,
Cataract, use a
and a
ship.
new and a
Cataract,
new and a
cataract,
new
use
and a new
cataract.
sorry.
Use a boat example me use with a hole. Yeah.
No,
No man, me no want to use no GP and prisoner escape through front gate. That one they too close to home. Use something.
What is the example that I learned in management school? That if you have prisoners escaping to the front gate and a new commissioner of the prison comes in and says, I want to quadruple the number of guards at the front gate and I want to increase the shift from 8 hours to 12 hours. You might not be able to speak to everybody and get them to come on board because you want to stop the prisoners escaping to the front gate. However, in your example, the workers you might fix that hole, but somebody else might dig another hole somewhere else in the ship that causes it to sink. So there are things that you have to cauterize immediately. Otherwise, the whole, if you're losing money like $1 million a day, you can't continue to do that without putting some controls in
But
place.
Keter, you're saying the same thing that I said. The only thing that you're doing, you're using different examples.
So I'm saying to you, if you don't get buy-in from the sailors on the ship, then just go and bore another hole somewhere in the ship. So you have to bring them along.
So what you're saying is that your example is a better example to use than mine.
No. I'm not saying who better or whatever. Right? I'm
All
saying
right,
that.
so let's work with your example. If the prisoners are coming through the front gate, that needs to be fixed immediately. You can't wait
Yes.
and no buying. That must be dealt with right now.
No, but then you have to as to implement it, you have to engender the buy-in. So you can't just put your foot down and dictate and believe that everybody's going to buy into it. So you say, okay, I'm changing the number of guards, but understand why we're doing it. Because it's a small guard room, you know, it's uncomfortable. It used to be for 2 men, but now we have 4 men in the guard room. And then a man say, all right, maybe can we have 2 men and 2 women, so and a 4 man lock up in the room?
Yeah.
Maybe can you put an AC in here or put a fan so that we cool down because the room hotter now. So you have to listen also.
No,
right?
I don't think we're disagreeing with the need to listen. But sometimes, if you sit down and listen all day, you understand me, everything. But, I mean, I don't know. The people them are calling like, what? You hear every second the phone a beep, 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 beep,
All right.
beep, beep.
I will make my last point and then yield here, and then if you wish, as I said, in the future, we can at the
make
later
it
part
come
of the
back on.
program.
Yeah.
But my last point on this whole matter of the management, that there's the change management. I believe that what we do not have in the GFF is that, and I said it last night to Mr. Thompson, is that the vision of the fund and the goal and objective of the fund is totally different from that of the GFF. And unless you invite the stakeholders to the table, including the funds and the sponsors, and get and hear what it is that we would like and what we are willing to pay money for, we are going to be at this boat at this junction. So I believe Mr. Chung should be given the time, and I know that what people are beating him about is that we are seeing the same problems that we thought were going to be solved, or the same problem that them run away with a win for. They must see those same problems that come up. And so what change? And so that's easy cannon for the detractors.
Yeah. All right,
Now,
Keter. Yeah,
call.
man, because this person has been called, I think, around 10 times now. So let me take them. All right. Respect and thanks again, Keter. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports. Good afternoon.
Yeah, man, big up yourself, man.
Yeah, man. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, caller. Welcome to the show. Yeah, man, I'm here.
Big up yourself. Big up to all of the commenters and the people who are watching.
and listening.
Yeah, man. This sound
But
like
all background sound some money, like yeah.
this sound like Kevin.
No man, I know Kevin man.
Oh. No man, me never see a
Any,
Kevin. Me never see a Kevin. Man, me say it sound like a Kevin.
alright man.
But oh this
Yo,
me know the voice here, man. Walk on. Yeah, good afternoon. You wanna this guys go on again.
no man, me nah this guy man, me nah hide man.
You wanna
Nah, nah. Me and a person I interested in us, so me nah hide.
all right, go ahead. What say you, Coach Windsy?
Big up. Hey man, a whole heap you see from me do that show that Friday night. A peer call my phone and get messages answered. See?
Mm.
And yeah, I'm even getting messages from persons who would have worked with Mr. Chung outside of the football. See? So it look like him under tremendous pressure
Yeah.
because people have a lot to say. One of the things could have been is sort of leadership, and this is not what the federation used to, or the board of directors. You understand? These are things that they are not used to, and a whole lot of things have been saying.
One of the biggest
I
things
mean,
I've heard, Coach Windsy, I don't know if you have heard this, is that the request for money and in other words, before he disperse, he wants certain information, and that is causing a problem because that is not how it used to be generally.
right.
Man used to get
But
money and then talk after. He's saying that present the thing first and then you get money after. And I think that is one of the issues.
right. You know, I bring that argument to some of the people that are bringing that said argument or issues with Mr. Chung. See? And they debunk the argument by saying, you know that there is a some sort of financial restriction from FIFA where Jamaica is concerned.
Yes. Yeah,
And
man, I remember that. Remember when I spoke, I went last week too. They have somebody actually from FIFA that is in the accounts department at the GFF.
right,
Yeah.
right. So with that said, over a period of time, FIFA has been coming in to check out what is happening with that. So hear what the people are saying. Who used to be the head of the finance committee before he got the genset job? It was the same Mr. Chung.
Yeah.
So the people are saying he is the one that placed the federation in this situation.
No, you see, that is where now. Remember now, what he used to do is not make the decision. You remember, all right. So the people, them one thing they can't go around with because if you go by what Mr. Speed said, remember now, and that is why one of the most powerful position is the GenSec position, because now you can stipulate the finance.
He's the CEO. I'm running the place.
There you go with the technical committee. And the head of the finance committee, just like if Chris Deering, they can only, you always hear Speed say this, we are a recommending committee. The board used to make the decision. So if the board said, for example, they needed $1 million, he had no choice but to do it.
That's the head of the finance committee?
Yeah, because he did not, remember now, he never negotiated when he was in that. Think about it, because again, the technical committee, unless they're all aligned, cannot make decisions without the board voting on it. And it's the same thing. The person who can do that is the GenSec, because the GenSec is the CEO. So now he's in a position where he can say no. Because previously, when the board said this money needs to be dispersed, he had to sign off on it because the board had more power than the head of the thing there. That is why when you remember there was a time when the technical committee, for example, said that they were going to release somebody, but the board said no.
Mm-hmm.
When the finance committee,
Manning,
yeah.
But Manning, that goes to show then, that is where the alabalu is really, because if money has to be is requested and has to be released through the finance committee, but because of Mr. Chung's position and an accounting pedigree, as the CEO, he put in certain stipulation and the people don't like it. While with the previous gen set, they probably just request and he doesn't do checks and balances.
Yeah, so exactly. So I believe what used to happen is that. So, because remember now, you realize that prior to this, you only heard about Mr. Chung closer to the point when he was becoming the general secretary.
Mm-hmm.
All right? When any financial decisions were made prior, you know who used to talk? Dalton Wind. It is after Dalton Wind that you started seeing a transition because though he was not in the position, he was appointed to be. He was going to be, though they never made the appointment official.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here is the concept, Coach Mincy. The GenSec, and this is part of the issue, when Mr. Wind was in charge, then there was a lot of freedom in terms of board members making requests and those things approved. So the finance head was like a sign off on the check. If you go back and look at the financial statements and all of those things, nothing about Mr. Chung until recently. It's after Dalton Wind, the name Dennis Chung started coming into prominence. So for anybody to suggest that he may have known, which is what you're saying. What was happening, I'm telling you, is that he probably knew some of the things that were happening.
Yeah, so now him coming in a position, it would have been easier for him to tie up those ends.
Exactly.
And that's why the infighting, because one section is against him, majority is against him, and a few people are with him.
Listen.
So that make the thing more difficult for him, Because hear what they're saying to Manning. And I just share this because one of the people them know are going. They said that he was the man working on the settlement for the previous GenSec. And all of a sudden, him get the job. And how come, as a man who used to be in corporate, you just want to settle for a GenSec position in a JFF? I saw the people them a beat him,
Yeah, but because the GenSec position gives you more power in decision making. Listen, they're trying to make it like, and again, remember this, Coach Minzy. Hey, me I telling you, there's a lot of information out here, all right? Because you know what, a one club owner said to me recently, all him have to do is just give them the money. Because if all of them get the money them ask for, them stop talk. But that not going to work, because the truth is
he not operate, so because even at the deck where him come in and see, his duty is to minimize all of them something there,
Yeah.
Equity and all of the books balance in his tenure as the GenSec,
I'll give you a good example. You remember in time Jamaica played Cameroon? So the monies that were supposed to go to the parishes, the then persons in charge, this is before Mr. Chung went in. The then person in charge, whomever it was, wrote to FIFA to ask that instead of sending the money to the parishes, the money be used for the Cameroon engagement. That's what happened. That is how that money got used up, All right. So that money got used up now. So they all knew because that happened before he was there. And so now he's under pressure to give them the money. You think of the money there from long time? Because them figure some money there in there now, so they must can't find it. And all this comes down to is that I used to get this, I'm not getting it anymore. Yeah.
And worse, there's a big Adidas contract, so more money is there.
I think the biggest
so more
issue,
money to discriminate.
People are saying, listen, so who I get the money now? Because me used to get this, me now get this again. Where the money I go? Me need for some things need to change because me need to get back some of the money. Me need to get some
money. So you say you used to get money too? That's what you
say? You don't know where you go, man. You don't know where it go, man. I say, you normally courier the whole thing for me, the barrel in them chucking them, man. I have some fear,
Hey, Malin. Boy, I tell you, Robert go on wicked last time, I tell you, man. Robert tell him, man, so you got to go.
Yeah.
But I hear more things, man, because the ear say a piece of information to come out to have a really upstart thing.
Yeah, let me tell you what's going to happen.
I am waiting to see because I don't believe they talk about it.
Let me tell you this.
I don't believe the information.
Let me tell you this. All right? Military gonna say one fee more. Your military gonna I use for provide security, brother, but from the
no man, Guna need to send in an invite.
Yeah,
so he can't get seen.
For the truck go Portmore, he can't move, brother. Be truck can't move from Portmore. We have just left everything over there, give them. Understand me? But let me say this, Coach Minzy. So here's what they're planning on doing. Here's what I hear, just like you, that they want to sink the president to make sure that the president can't run again. But here is the thing now. There are other persons who plan to sink the people who plan to sink the president. So all I'm saying that is a lot of sinking going on. In all of this, though, what I will say is that the people who are going up against what Chung is doing, people have to understand how Jamaica work, And I know Joe think that why Chung work with both administrations in Jamaica, in high profile positions, You really believe that those guys could have such power and influence? And these people can smear his character? And it just goes up?
I'm celebrating the thing set away because you see this election thing. Based on what it's all right. Morning, they look like everybody, probably the board, they want Mr. Ricketts to win back,
The board?
Yeah, man, they want Mr. Ricketts to win back. But guess what?
Part of the board, not all of the board.
Well, majority.
So one board member, him stand alone. Him not nominate nobody. I feel himself him nominate. We can tell you by that right now.
Yeah, man.
No matter how much money you give him, no matter how much promise you make, him a vote for himself.
but majority of them want to win money. See? But them are say now, if this man continue to operate or him operate, look like him have a win. So that's why it's on division and it's on divide in the thing right now. Because everybody now see eye to eye.
But you know what to Coach means? Two persons that them a lot of the board, two persons them have issues with, Rudolph Speed and Dennis Chung.
Mm-hmm.
Those two persons, they believe, and I mean, even other football administrators outside of the board of the JFF have issues with speeding. Because part of the thing is that they believe that he's stopping some of the things that they want to do and putting into,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just like my thing is that if they don't come together and have a discussion and bring in competent people, like and
Catastrophe gonna happen.
I start with this. It is like you're injecting yourself with cancer and think that
Yeah,
you're
me
gonna
tell-
survive it.
yeah, man, catastrophe gonna happen, man.
Because I'm telling you, when the cancer spread, it gonna affect everybody. So some people believe that it's not going to affect them because they have the injection that they're going to administrate the injection. And I'm saying to them, if you administrate the injection, remember that you're injecting it in your own body. So it's
Mm-hmm.
best for you to sit down and meet, create a pathway, and get competent people.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Why? We are gonna see the saga them still. So as we go on, we are gonna see what go on.
Yeah, man. Coach Quincy, get the people them want to go and how so many what am I trying to do? Take away all of the medals from Jamaica or something?
I did a video on it when Alana run the final at the 100,
Here,
and
like I mean,
some buy him and take me on, and I say me at nonsense and them thing there. I'm a challenge the person, and now to see these things happening, me seem like a prophet because the youth twitching at the blocks, you call back the race, seeing, and fine, you give the field a green card, but you allow the race to run. And then you make somebody come protest and you want to rerun the race. Jamaica said they not run back that. And me and the other teams have a plan to do it. So we don't know what going on with the officiating and all of even the timing system we have a problem with.
so the Bahamian
But
youth false start. They've never take him out the race like how they did with Daly. They run the race with him, and now they want them not the teams protest, and they want to run back the race without him.
without who? The Bahamian,
Yeah.
no, I don't know if that's going to be the thing. But the Jamaicans themselves, because that's foolishness. Because a fool. Why you gonna make the youth them run? So many days of competition, so many Jamaicans are being hurt. And a pure foolishness are going on with them timing system. Even if the inconsistency of oh you say have somebody miss a final and you stop the final and let it be run as a time final in the
Yeah, even
spirit of
that.
character. A pure foolishness man never go on, man. But me understand say this thing is all about them wanting to win the Austin Sealy trophy. So I don't know if that them are trying the Jamaicans. I don't know.
All right. Well, see me I get a couple of calls. Let me see if we can shout
Yeah
them
man,
back.
big up yourself.
Big
Big
up
up to the
Coach
people
Minzy.
them.
Yeah, man, bless
Yeah
you.
man.
All right, let me see. We have this person. Oh my lord, he has been calling for so long. Let me call him back. Oh, he's on another call right now. I don't know. Maybe he's trying to call the show. So let's wait and see. Um, need to get him on because he has been trying to call for a while. Going to take a couple. Everywhere. Hey, people, me realize that some people unsubscribe them. I figure say some of the people them who find themselves in a this pickle this morning. You understand me? But that's how man is, You know me not do it for the subscribers. You understand me? I'm glad that we have so many subscribers. But here's the thing. This is what I do. So if when I speak you choose to unsubscribe, I am going to keep on speaking the truth. By when I'm a minister of the word. So here's the thing. I am bound to speak the truth. You have heard me on this platform. I will not disrespect, but I'm going to be speaking the truth. And if after doing that, someone calls me and say, no, you know what you were saying is not accurate, and you have other information and you put it to me, you know me, I will come on this platform and publicly say I was wrong. I will give you your time and space to come and share information contrary. Caller, you are calling. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports.
Yeah, respect man. Big up to the viewers and subscribers and thing. Um, yeah, just a few points I wanted to make.
What's
The
your name?
first one
What's
is
your name, caller?
Jason Guna.
Oh, jeez and peace, people. This are the man, Jason Gona. Saying to tell the people,
Yo,
them man, people. All right, Jason Gona has a what? A Arsenal shirt for all of the fans today, right? You pick them up yet from the armory? I'm just kidding. Jason Gona, talk to me about the match yesterday first before you make your point, please.
all right, yeah, the match yesterday. So personally, of course, it was a tale of two halves, right? The first half we were all over them. I think we didn't really learn our lesson from the last time we went to Anfield. We had a good handle of the game the last time, and if you remember, Arteta had a spot with Klopp and kind of made the Cop
Oh
end go
yeah, yeah.
crazy and the Anfield faithful go crazy. And I think something similar happened yesterday around the 40-minute mark.
With Granit
I
Xhaka.
think Xhaka thought he got fouled and then got up and attacked Trent, and Trent retaliated. And I think that kind of galvanized the fan base in the stands, because at that time they were at their quietest, and you could hear the Arsenal fans even more than the Anfield faithful. So that kind of changed the tide of the game slightly. And of course, the timing of them scoring so quickly after that didn't help either. I think as far as the second half went, I think Arteta might have gotten some of his decisions wrong in his subs. I didn't understand when he took off Odegaard, changing the shape. I didn't think that was necessary, because he went to three centre backs, and
Yeah.
basically Liverpool was getting most of their joy on the flanks. So what I would have done in that situation was probably brought on Tierney
And put
to kind of
Zivchenko in
solidify the
midfield.
left side and just push Zinchenko to where he wants to
Zivchenko,
play
yeah.
anyway. Right. So I would have done that differently, but I'm not going to beat him too much. We got a point out of the game that is way better than some other teams who have many more fans than us fared this year with them. So, I think at the end of the season, we'll look back at that game and we won't really consider it as 2 points dropped, but instead a point gained. So, big up to Ramsdale for those saves, because he definitely kept us at that draw. And I just
Yeah.
wish that Martinelli could have played a better pass, so I could have seen if Saka would score the goal at the
I
end of the
think
game.
Gabriel.
But
I think Gabriel should have taken that header and put us up 3-1 and would have been in a better position as well. I thought.
yes, because he could have put that header anywhere but there. But
Yeah.
even past that point, man, it's that last play when we broke out from the
Yeah. Yeah.
corner and Martinelli just has to slot Saka anywhere but there, and he's in on goal. So, look, I think both teams can look back at it and say, boy, a great game, and they probably both deserved a point. Whoever lost that game would have felt hard done by it. So I can't too cuss. But again, I think we could have done some things differently to maybe stem the tide. I think the substitutions, maybe he overthought it a bit going to the back three when he did, because I don't think that Kivior really affected the way. So
Yeah.
I think that was a wasted substitution. But we'll move. We'll go again.
All right. So let's get into your point, but let me just put this up. I see Ohini Blake saying, "Show mash up." No, Mister Few Points. I think you said you have a few points, so go ahead. So I don't know what's going
No,
on.
well, we'll let the fans here decide who mash up the show more, myself or Cataract. So that's okay. Anyway, my points are actual points, and I don't have to be long winded. So I'll just give my point right now. Mr. Chung, right? It seems like he is trying to introduce some accountability to the monies that are dispersed, right? And I just want to know, as a fan of Jamaica's football, what is the gripe with what he's trying to do? Because in any organization, in order to receive funding for something, you must present some kind of plan for those funds.
Exactly.
And it sounds as
Budgetary
if
expenditure.
at one. yes, it has to be something that you present in order to receive the funding. So the fact that he's getting so much backlash for something so, elementary to business or any running of any business just goes to show how backward it was run before. Because if they're having issues with this is standard practice in anything in life. You go to the bank and you want a loan, you can't just go in there and ask them. You have to give them a proposal to why you need the money and what you're going to do with the money and how you can pay them back, right? And we're not even asking for a way for them to pay us back. We're just asking for a plan that we're going to do with the money. And to me, for that to be met with any kind of negativity, it doesn't make any sense to me. So that was all I was really wanted to say. The fact that some members of this board have issues with what Chung is trying to do in that regard is crazy to me. And hopefully the ones that have problems with it can hurry up and leave, because nothing will go forward if that mindset is still in play in the organization. And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. All right,
yeah, man,
Jason.
big up.
Yeah, man, big up. All right, so that was Jason Guna for you. See if we can call back. Think this caller as well. Trying to call back some of the callers who are trying to get through.
Yes, sir.
Sir Wallace, welcome to I Am Sure Sports. Know you've been trying to call for a while, so just getting a chance to call you back.
Thank you very much for giving me a call. Very interesting discussion. For the life of me, I cannot understand why anybody who has a football interest at heart would want to get rid of Mr. Dennis Chung at this time.
Yeah.
The case for Mr. Chung remaining is simple. And at the same time, it shows that persons like Mr. Johnson, Mr. Boris Johnson, are short-sighted when they say football people should run the football. Mr. Chung seems to have an overview of what the JFF should be doing. It's an awesome responsibility. We want good national teams. We want good parish associations with football across the island. And we want every nook and cranny, from the Hills of Success in Hanover, the Plains of Veer, to Outmoran Point, wherever it is. We want the proper coaching and exposure of our youngsters. We want them to get a chance at making it in the football. The parish associations need to step up and do that work. And the JFF need to ask them, demand of them that they do that work. Mr. Chung seems to have just touched on the marketing problems we have. He also seems to have reached out to the diaspora and local Jamaica. That is what the football is about. We want to make it a business, and you cannot leave any area untouched. One of the great resources the JFF has are the schools in Jamaica. And instead of persons outside talking about the physical education teachers don't know anything about football and children must go away and so on. No, those teachers have gone through years of classes on psychology and methods of imparting knowledge. What the JFF should do is make sure the exposure is there for them to get the B license, those people in the physical education department. So the little kids can learn how to approach the game, how to think of the game. That decision making that the adults at the national senior team level must have, like that beautiful second goal by our regular girls that we just saw.
Yes.
You have to inculcate that from at the junior levels. So you can't have these millions of dollars invested in these schools and in these teachers and in these physical education department, and the JFF ignores that. That is a nonsense position. You cannot ignore that. No, the matter of funding for everything that the JFF has to run, funding is critical. We have let's assume we have the vision because Mr. Chung seems to have that. Then we need the funding. And he has started by reaching out to Chris Daring to say, come on in and help us set up a proper marketing department. He has to tap into the vast resources, funds available in the diaspora.
Yeah.
Right? And he has to get the information out. I had years ago a conversation with Captain Horace Burrell in his office. And I spoke with him.
Sorry, hold on, Mr. Wallace. This is not Kyle. This is actually the father, Carl. All right, go ahead.
Yes, the old man.
Yeah, this is the older Wallace, not the younger one. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, and there was a national men's senior team match in Florida where I am living, and I never knew about that match until days after the match was played. Right? Now you have one organization and a loose collection of people in the United States, and I'm speaking about the United States, zeroing in, but I'm sure it will be replicated in Canada and in the UK and in various other parts of the world. We have alumni associations, and we have what is fondly called Jamaica patty shops. They are numerous across the country. If the JFF has functions coming on, they need to reach out to those two entities and advertise, broadcast what it is they are going to do. Jamaicans will turn up in droves, spend their money, and the JFF in the negotiations with whomever is putting on their football matches or events will not negotiate for part of the proceeds to come to them. The more if we look at stadia, for example, the more the stadia are filled, the more funds the JFF will accrue. Then we have our recently launched funding for B-licensed coaches, right? We put a modest figure of $1,000 as a start, and we are almost at $2,000 already in a short time. And we have persons who have given us commitment that they are going to contribute, right?
Yeah, right now.
Vast amount.
Right now, let me just tell it's at $1,836 of the original targeted amount. So, yeah, so that's it. It's really, yeah, so that's tremendous.
There you go. There you go. But and I agree with Mr. Chung, and none of the parish FA heads should disagree. He's asking them to present. Of course, I'm accepting what I heard on your program this morning, right? Earlier, I should say. I'm accepting that he has asked them to present their plans before and their budget before the JFF turns over funds to them. Yeah. That is only fair and right.
And I also believe fundamental for me is if you're parish FA and you're affiliated to the JFF, say let's use one of our financial institutions here in Jamaica. Anyone, they all have a head office. Those head offices have branches all across Jamaica with managers. Those managers must submit their managerial meetings in the different parishes to the head office, a full breakdown. I also believe that any parish association, this is my opinion, any parish association that is not presenting a monthly minutes of their executive meetings should not be given the resources of the federation. No parish should be given funds if the only person you're hearing from is a president, because that means he has no accountability. Who are the other persons who are making the decisions in the parish for these funds? Who signs off on things? It cannot be just the parish president alone, because at the JFF level, there are systems in place that are designed to govern how they operate. So the head office have systems, the branches must have similar systems. And I think
I,
fundamentally that need to happen in
I
every
agree.
single parish.
I agree with you 100%. You're right on point. And just to refer again to Boris Johnson's way of thinking, when he says football persons, he would like us to assume that for myself, who is a school teacher, that I am not a football person.
Yeah,
He would like us to think only persons who have his type background is a football person. That is very short-sighted. And I'm glad you had people who were watching to assist with you to show him the number of football associations around the world where, quote unquote, they did not have football persons in Boris Johnson's mold running the FA or running a department of the football. What you want is people who will make it happen, people who are competent, well
absolutely.
organized, and who hold themselves accountable to the parent body.
Absolutely.
You know, if I had the power, Mr. Chung would be General Secretary and CEO of the Jamaica Football Federation. He would answer to the board, and in the day-to-day operations, he'd probably answer first to the president, because ultimate responsibility lies with the board. Mr. Chung has to answer to them, right? So they are not giving up the football to Mr. Chung if it is a self-serving type thing that has caused this dispute. No, what they are doing is organizing properly, organizing that it may work. Let me just touch on the most successful of our presidents in my lifetime. And I'll be 80 very soon. That was Captain Horace Burrell. But with all his achievements, Captain Burrell and all the presidents before my time and their administration never left a youth development system that could make our national teams perpetually performing at a high standard. You have to go, as I said before, into every nook and cranny of the island to make sure you're developing the youth so that they move up to the next level, to the next level, to this national senior teams levels.
Yeah.
And it has to be done, of course, both our ladies and our men. And once we put on good products, I think Mr. Chung said it also, then it becomes marketable. Then you can be able to generate more funds off the football teams. And then Boris will be happy because he will be seeing great national teams. But you have to deal with each area of the football. You can't leave out any area. You leave out one area, you're losing resources. You're not developing the football as fast as possible. You're denying the youth chances to progress into the professional leagues if you're not doing everything at every level. Now, man,
Absolutely.
can't talk about the school teachers in the physics department as being chopped. No, not about football. No, They have the psychology, they have the methodology to teach. Give them the qualification for the football teaching. That
Absolutely.
subject football teaching. Give it to them. Government paying their salaries, government providing them fields and in private schools, they have their fields and whatnot and so forth. You want to tell me the JFF want to throw away that tremendous multi-billion of dollars resources? Come on, man. Come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. But I mean, very, very important input to the show today, Mr. Wallace. Really appreciate you taking the time out to call in Reggae Boy Supporters Club. Remember, for those of you who are listening, there is a funds being raised to help with the B license coaches. So you can go on to Reggae Boy Supporters Club, and there is a link there that you can make a donation to that. Trying to raise $3,000. They're almost at 1,900, so 1,100 more dollars to go. All right, but want to thank again Mr. Carl Wallace for calling in today. And we have a couple more calls coming in, so hopefully we can have some other times when we can have these discussions. All right?
Thank you very much.
You're
Very,
welcome,
very,
man.
very interesting. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, we have a next caller calling in. Good afternoon. Welcome to I Am Sure Sports.
Yeah, good afternoon, Father Manning. So all going?
I am here. Have no fear. Who we speaking with today?
Yeah, man, I mean, they drop the examples them in the comment
Oh, R
section.
Cube. Yeah, man. Talk to them because for
Yeah.
those who are listening, because that was some good stuff. Jason sent them to me, but I don't know if you have them on hand.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. I've got to look back. Oh, all right. All right. So, what I try to do, right? I try to look up the most successful football associations in the world. I'm going to try to understand what the ethos is at the beginning and who them appoint. So I was really upset with some of the points of Boris make. So I look for the Dutch FA, I look for the French FA, I look for the Portuguese FA, I look for the English FA, and I forget a couple more, but I know that those four for sure was in, right? The caller I called previously, I think he made some really good points.
That's
One of the
Jason.
things that I wanted to, I'm sorry,
I think that was Jason Guna.
no, was it Jason? The man that was just on the call a while ago, is Jason
Mr.
Boone?
Mr. Wallace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the main theme is football is a business, and I mean for understand that. When them appoint people, what them look for is, all right, what has been your successful accomplishments in the business world, right? How have you taken company A from point A to point B? How did they accomplish it? So them look for really successful people, right? Dennis Chung, in that sense, is an excellent candidate. You see, people like Boris, me catch up with him last year on another program, They are dinosaurs. Them view football now vacuum. Them not look what is outside of it, and them not look at how you build a successful football federation. Mannings, you might not have a footballing background, but you might have an understanding of what Jamaica is and what it's supposed to. So you might have a general idea as to how you want a football team play. Where Boris and people and coaches come in is them are going to implement the technical and tactical aspects of the football.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
the groundwork behind the scenes, it comes from people with brilliant minds. And that is why the United States Federation, and I'm not sure about Mexico, but they won't necessarily have somebody with a footballing background running the administrative side of the game. It does not mean that we don't need football people. So, Boris, if you're insecure about not getting a job or people you know in a football where you deserve a job, it does not mean that you won't be employed. It just means that the administrative side of it will be run by competent people who have a vision to move the business forward. So there is a place for you in terms of the technical and tactical side of the federation. But this nonsense say you have to play the sport before you can contribute anything of worth to it is garbage.
Especially the suggestion that it is at an elite level, because the people, Dennis Chung has been involved in football and in sport and did play. Chris Deering played football and played cricket. So they may not have played it at an elite level, but they did play it. And that is all I'm saying. I am saying that there are two arms of the football. And you're absolutely right, RQ. There is the administrative arm and there's a technical arm. And one thing I know, if you have good technical persons in place and poor administrative management, then it's
It
going
will
to
not work.
exactly. And
The goals will not be met. You need both.
exactly.
Mannings, them say in a sense Stella runs the female program almost, not quite, but almost as an adjunct of the Jamaica Football Federation. Me see she do an interview the other day. The man asked her if she can play football. She said no, she can kick a ball.
Yeah.
That tells you that what she does is she gets competent people to do certain aspects of it, and then she try filling the gaps where she have the knowledge. So like the commercial side, the fact that she have links in a CONCACAF, the fact that CONCACAF W embraces her as an ambassador as well. Some
Alright.
of them man
Hey,
need to understand, so we're not try to shut them out of the football, you know.
but
We
not
just
only
have to
that
say
too,
we need them, but we need,
R
yeah?
Cube, let me give you a big one, right? Let
Yeah,
me give you a big one. All right. Now, prior
yeah.
to, and listen, I am not telling anybody that Mr. Chung is flawless in his operation. I'm not saying that he's perfect. I'm not saying that he will not have fault. I am not saying that at some point we same one will not come out and say that he needs to leave. That all of that may happen. I am saying, given what I've seen for the last 6 months, I think I have seen enough to say,
Right.
give him a chance. Let's see what will happen. That's all I'm saying. One other thing I want to clearly identify is that prior to him coming in this position, there was always this notion that the football and the political arm of our nation was different. You saw that in the World Cup qualifying when we couldn't
Right.
even get any sort of agreement from government. Nobody was taking the lead from the federation to lead that charge, right? To get
Right.
fans in the
People in the
stand.
stand.
Exactly. No, after that, you remember even with the former coach, one of the issues that came up was about the whole salary and how the Minister of Sport was involved and all of that conflict and the division right there. Since Mr. Chung has come
Right.
on, do you hear how many times the name Babsy Grange has been brought up to resolve issues, including including with the players getting the visas recently?
The players are praising Chung. The player them. Me shot the other day when Damian Lowe say, yo, me see him actually pick up the JFF.
And yeah, and the interview that he did, absolutely, absolutely. And I think sometimes,
No, go ahead, man.
and sometimes, we must understand that we live in a place where your ability to have influence in certain sectors of community also give your leadership a lot of leverage. And when you bring, for example, if when Chris Deering comes on, this gives him leverage in the leadership that maybe other persons presently in the JFF, as good as they may think they are, as football involved they think they are not going to have that kind of leverage just because of his exposure in managing at the highest level. So we have to look at it
Man,
that way too.
Mannings are appeal to the choir. I think me hear JFF sometimes come out and make a lot of things, but when it got to the governmental aspect and when they need the support from the government, you realize that the links them not really there. So you have somebody like Dennis Chung, we have the links, and he might try. Like even the other day, like when he was doing an interview, I think he was kind of expressing say maybe the ladies kind of felt a little bit slighted, like them not get the praise what them supposed to get.
Yes.
And in same have a discussion with them. You see, even if I just that him did do, Mannings, same I put out the effort to make the ladies know so we appreciate them. He's doing something different. You get me, I say?
The
So at
man
least,
said, I have met with Damian Lowe. I have
yeah,
met with Andre Blake. By himself. He
right,
never said we had a team meeting. You tell me
right.
when last have you heard any
I've
sort of.
never heard it.
There you go.
Me never hear it. Me never hear it. And to Coach Barris, I just want to say this before me. It seems like somebody that is threatened when people outside of football try come in and try have an impact. The reason why I did catch up with him on another program was the whole diaspora argument of whether or not we should embrace the diaspora or yada yada yada. May I say this? No child decides where they are born. It is always an act of the parent.
Yeah.
So the football team, in a sense, is in the world's view a lot of times even more than army or whatever else, is a representation of the best that we can offer. When we tell a youth we're gonna give him a chance because him poor in a life and whatever else, when you get the opportunity to go abroad, they don't care about that.
Yep.
Them just care about whether you produce. You do not produce young men, and too much of them have come back from abroad with a mental fortitude for getting in those environments. You remember when Bonnie said when she go France? Bonnie said when she went to France and when I want to say for the president or whomever the club said, why are we signing a Jamaican? Basically like on athletics we are trying, run a football we are trying to play. Why we are signing a Jamaican? She went out there and she proved herself. So you see the young man them when a club sign them probably look on it and say, yo, why are you signing a Jamaican? Like them good. So
Yep.
you're already at a deficit. So when you want a Brazilian come in, whether it is right or wrong, the Brazilian already have
An edge. They're coming from a known footballing culture,
exactly,
place that has produced a whole
exactly.
lot.
So even if him not good, they must probably him have a bad day. When you not good enough, they must gonna say, you see, me know so the boy never good from long time. Waste your waste your money. You can't you do not produce people who can overcome those obstacles by making it easy for them. They must understand to the world out there does not care about how hard their life was. You either get the job done or you don't.
Yeah, man. Very
Boris is
good
one of
point.
them where someone like say he want to make it easy for some youth. You do not produce excellence by making it easy because there's a world out there and no child, my child more than like a born a foreign. And for them child, me choose to left Jamaica. What that have to do with them?
Yeah, but listen, I, like I said, out of respect, I will not call. But I had a conversation recently, less than a month ago, with someone in football administration, and the person told me clearly. I said, "What about my son?" Him said, "Me know you, and your
But
son would
but
not."
that's not
Listen, the man tell me say he would not call me son because I you my pitney. The man say your pitney all right. That the man tell me. Me say he say you know how I struggle in life and you go tell me say my youth all right.
Mannings.
That's what the man.
Mannings,
Eh?
they need to come a foreign to live and understand what it is like. Sometimes you left Jamaica with masters, you have a street sweet.
Uh,
Sorry, sweet
n-
street. Them not know what.
there you go. There you go, sir. And a lot of them need to
Anyway,
know that. The
but them
pay
people know that.
is probably better than in Jamaica, but you're
Yes,
working below your qualification level
yeah,
in Jamaica.
yeah. Them need to understand that a lot of times they take jobs where you're overqualified for, but you need to get it like at the end of the day, I tell them already, say, my father left and come to England as a young man. He couldn't deal with the racism, he come home, right? Him come home, and me born at Jamaica. Him cousins them choose to stay. So why you tell me say my cousin them not to play for Jamaica because of where them born? It cannot work that way, man. And we need to tell the youth them the truth. Yo, when you got foreign people, you got things saying are good because this is not athletics or football. You're already at a deficit. You have to be better than what is there. And not wrong with that. But Barry say a big man, a time for like insecurity, man. We need
Yeah.
better people in the football. You can fulfill a role, just not on the administrative side. But
There you
bless
go.
up, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Respect R Cube. Yeah, man. Appreciate that. That is R Cube there. All right. So we're gonna close out right now. But what I'll say, and that is it in a Boris. I think R Cube ended it so um correctly. Here's what is the thing. Because Coach Boris, I believe, and you know that, when it comes down to coaching, you have an edge. Very good coach, especially at the youth level. Very good. I've seen that. Get teams to play good football. Very good at that. And I think, personally, you should stick to that. And this is not a knock on you. You're excellent at what you do. You mentioned Freddie Butler. Excellent at what he does out in Port St. Lucie. Those guys play what I call beautiful football. But here's what Freddie Butler don't do. He doesn't get himself involved in the administration of the thing. I could call some other names of other persons doing excellent job in the technical director position, the coaching position, but they stay far away from the administrative arm of the program. That's what we are saying. I believe we must find the best qualified, able people of integrity to administrate our football. And then we will have better technical position people in better people in the technical positions to drive the game forward. And so as we close this show, to everyone presently in the JFF, it would suit you, because if one of you stand a chance, you stand it together. Because except for the recent new additions to the program, most Jamaicans, yard and abroad, want the old guard to all leave. There is not one of you they want to stay. I'm being honest with you. But here's what I think they will strike a compromise in. If all of you brought in enough competent people and you watch them do the work, and you sit as parish presidents, and even you won't be a part of the board, but you have competent people in marketing, in the accounts department, at the general secretary level, managing your website. If you have the administrative arm functioning efficiently, effectively, the football will get better. Never ever for 1 minute think like the people in the comment section, the callers who call in, the vloggers. We may not speak the same way, we may not put out the same content, but if you believe you love the football, please also remember that we also love the football. And many of us, including me, we are willing to help. And every time I've been asked to support the football, I've gone above and beyond the call of duty without reward, because I want to see my nation consistently perform at an elite level at all levels of the football. As we close, big kudos to our beautiful reggae girls. They did exceptionally well this morning in securing a 2-0 victory over Sheffield United. It's part of the preparation for the World Cup. We wish them all the best. We wish that all the funds that they need, they will receive, and all the support that they need, they will receive. We will have a conversation to find out how things are with them. I am Manningsman. This has been I Am Sure Sports. And as usual, we ask you before you go to hit the like button. If you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe, and also share the content. Alright, do that for me, please. Enjoy the rest of your day. When it gets to this point, we normally say we are over, and we are OUT out of here.